The content of this channel is for mature audiences. Parental discretion is advised. You're tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel. Please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell notification button. And please, feel free to share the video. Thank you. What's good, everybody? I'm the G with a PhD, and you're tuned in to the Green Gorilla Channel, the place where black men can express themselves freely, straight up, no chasers. That means straight up, no chasers. It means taking the hen dog straight to the throat, right out the bottle. It means no mixers, no orange juice, no sarsaparilla, straight to the throat, straight to the gut. So, before I begin, like I always do, I want to give out a shout to all of the members of the Green Gorilla Channel who help to keep things going here behind the scenes. I'd like to give a shout out to I Am a Black Man, John Reads Too Much, Hey Ertrix, Leroy Honeycutt, True King 337, B Hillfire, Forrest Windu, Mike Cavalius, Urban Nomad, Raphael Brown, Barnolas, Kyle J. Sura, I'm Just Jules, The Book of Ronin, Ab Media 83, Damon Harris, Brian McMurray, Ethan Hines, Mr. Lou Meth, TD Hip Hop Media, Drew Main, Shop Talk Live, Ryan Jackson, The Face, Mr. Heat, David the Man, Afro Analyst, NEU, Ronan Martin, Black Quizzard ADOS, Camp Low, Isa Abdul Sahir, Sir Anthony, Deshaun Nolly, MLR, Charles Rogers, Black Dog, Brother Love, Infamous Chillin', Universal 178, Black Swerve 404, Rashid Barnes, Aaron Smith, DH, See Truth the Revelator, Gold Professor, The Nameless Protagonist, Black Pill Ned Stark, Arthur Unknown, Odd Collar, Dr. Tiasan Johnson, Brian Williams, Kalanja Kala, Sherrod Martin, Ricky Dawson, Cedric Bowman, True 7360, BK Born Shaheed, James Washington, Hostile ADEP, Seven Coast Dojo, W Pure 1, Roguish the Billmonger, I Care, Lady Miss Thing Green, and Marvin Battle Jr. Thank you so much for being members of the Green Gorilla Channel. I appreciate all your help and all your support and your encouragement. Appreciate that. And all my haters, I appreciate y'all too. I want to give you a big fat kiss. That's for my haters. But, we got to keep things pushing here, man. And if you would like to become a member of the Green Gorilla Channel, well, here's how. What's good, everybody? I'm the G with a PhD, and you're tuned in to the Green Gorilla Channel, the place where black men can express themselves freely, straight up, no chaser. Today, I want to introduce you to my new membership program that consists of 5 levels where you can invest in the Green Gorilla Channel on a monthly basis and receive level-specific perks. Memberships are special because they improve the quality of the content of the channel and will help me to be able to keep the channel going. Now, to participate in the Green Gorilla Channel membership program, all you have to do is hit the join button, which is located right next to the subscribe button on my channel page. Now, for all of my subscribers who decide not to participate in my membership program, nothing will change. The content will keep coming the way it always has. Thanks for watching, and be careful out here, people. Bless. Now, today, I've brought a special guest to the Green Gorilla Channel. He's no stranger around these parts, and I brought him in to help me give some analysis on something I saw brought to the public sphere lately about T.I. I know I was supposed to do a show about Viacom, and I'm going to get to that. I've been kind of putting it off, but I'm going to get to it. I'll get to it next week. But this week, we got to get to this T.I. thing. Because T.I. has called quality time with his daughter thought prevention time. And I want to discuss it. I want to talk about it. I want to see if this man is making any sense. Is there any rhyme or reason to what he said? So let me cut off the music. Let it fade to black. And I'd like to bring in my guest, none other than the Black Gnostic. What's going on, bro?
Hey, what's going on, Dr. Gigi?
What's going on with you, man? How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing well. Seeing your channel's growing. That's all good.
Yeah, man, just a little bit, man. I'm a mere mortal. You know what I'm saying? I'm not an architect yet.
You
Like in
got
the Matrix, I'm not an architect, but
well,
I'm working on it.
you gotta take that black pill and walk through the door of light, man, before you actually become an architect.
Man, look. Speaking of architects, man,
Mm,
I've been trying to tell people there's a difference between biology and what's real and the matrix, which is society, the structure of society itself.
mm-hmm.
And it seems like every time I talk about that, man, it kind of falls on deaf ears. Uh, you know, the things that are important are your relationships, yourself,
Mm-hmm.
your family, your friends. But we're more worried about earthly and worldly things, which aren't even earthly or worldly. They're all fabrications,
Your fabrications.
constructions.
Yes.
So, but
What
anyway,
can
man,
what they
yeah,
were
go ahead.
saying? Can you explain a water to a fish?
Or can you explain snow to an Eskimo? You catching my drift though,
Yeah.
BGS. But
Yep.
I'm preaching to the choir with you, man. You've been doing this a long time, so I defer to your authority. You get it? You
All
get it?
right.
And plus you're an elder. Not that much of an elder than I am, but you are older than I am, so I have to, you know, genuflect a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
A wee bit.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
So I just want to, I want to share the screen real quick. Let me share it. And well, actually, I'm not going to share the screen as much as I'm about to. Yeah, let me just share the screen. Let me do this with share screen. I'm going to share the screen, the Chrome tab, TI, thought prevention. I assume you can see that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to read this article, and I want to know what your impression of it is because sometimes I have the tendency to go overboard. I, you know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to bring because you have daughters, correct?
Yeah. Two grown daughters, as a matter of fact.
And you don't have to share their names or anything, but like, do you mind sharing their ages?
My oldest is 32, and my youngest is 25.
Okay, all right. So I mean, they are grown.
They
Okay,
are very grown with children.
with children, both of them
With
have
children.
children,
Both of them had children. Yeah.
and so then the question becomes: would you want to see any of your daughters if you walk into the strip club? Would you want to see your daughter shaking her ass
Uh,
for a stack of
n-
ones?
no, I'd probably be pulling her off the pole, and security probably be throwing me out. So,
And people make that seem like it's a bad thing. Like if that's something that you desire for your child,
hmm
not to have to objectify herself,
yeah.
which is exactly what that is.
hmm
Okay, let's just be honest about it. Uh, not too far away from being a hoe.
Yeah, well, they're they are hoeing. They're using their bodies for money. So not engaging as far as they probably could be, but yeah, they a chick on a pole is just one step from the street, but you know that already.
Man, and look, I don't know what they do where you're from. You from Cali, right?
hmm
Now, when I was doing music, and I recorded some music with some pretty big name artists before. Okay,
hmm
and the producer I was messing around with, he took
hmm
me to a whole party,
Mm. I've been to
and
those. Yeah. Yeah.
and it was something I had never seen before. Because where
hmm
I'm from, St. Louis, we go over to East St. Louis, and they have the pink slip,
hmm
bottoms up,
hmm
and women do something strange for a little bit of change in them places, man.
hmm
You know what I'm saying? So
hmm
once you make the step and you say, okay, I'm going to dedicate myself to a life of getting money from my body,
hmm
and that money gets good to you, what's to stop you
hmm
from taking the next step and saying, okay, I can get more money
hmm
if I, sex these dudes.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm just saying, man. No man who's involved with the life of his daughter and
Mm-hmm.
respects his daughter and wants the best for his daughter, I don't think will want to see her on the stripper pole. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, no, it's a bad look on a man's manhood, to have his daughter doing that kind of stuff. So yeah, I don't care. I don't care whether you were a street dude or you know, Carlton Banks. Nobody wants to see his daughter on the pole.
No, I wouldn't want to see mine on the pole. I got two of them. I got one that's 21 and another one that's about to be 18. 1, 2, 3. She a 1, 2, 3 baby.
Okay.
Yeah, January 2nd, 2003.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, so she's a 1, 2, 3 baby, man, and that's a rare. That she can't forget her birthday. Nobody can forget her birthday. But I just want to read this article, and it's relatively short. It's not a long article at all. Okay, but I want you can stop me any way along this because I do reactions. Okay, and Ti already was criticized,
Mm-hmm.
but he's getting criticized again. Okay, for how he's parenting his daughters.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it says while T.I. was chatting with 21 Savage, who's another rapper. I don't know if you ever heard of him. But he was chatting with this other rapper about fatherhood and raising daughters on an episode of his podcast. And that's T.I.'s podcast. And this
Mm-hmm.
was not too long ago. It was on November 28th. And on YouTube, which basically it came out on December 17th. And the Atlanta rhymer, they talking about T.I., called
Mm-hmm.
his quality time with his daughters thought prevention hours. I mean, it don't sound good, right?
It don't sound good, but I know what he means.
So this was in response to 21 revealing that he's more overprotective of his daughter than his son.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you think that there's anything wrong with that?
No, there shouldn't be, and I've actually people have actually asked me why, and I said, okay, if your son messes up, he ruins his life, right? But if your daughter messes up and starts having babies, she ruins 3 generations. So yeah, you have to be a little bit more protective of your daughter than your son.
So, I mean, some of these people though, they feel like, okay, well, we'll see what they say. So anyway,
Mm-hmm.
so they basically say, look, because sons can't get pregnant, which is pretty much what you just said, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Sons can't get pregnant. T.I.
Mm-hmm.
said around the hour and
Mm-hmm.
7 minute mark. You can't keep her from running into one of them niggas.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Lil Duval call it thought prevention hours.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what men are saying amongst themselves. They're men having a
Mm-hmm.
conversation just like we're having a conversation here, straight up,
Mm-hmm.
no chasing.
Mm-hmm.
And basically he goes on to further say, keep your daughter off the pole.
Mm-hmm.
You spending time going to daddy-daughter dances and taking her on trips where it's just
Mm-hmm.
you and her. Those are thought prevention hours.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So you're in agreement with this. Like there's
Mm-hmm.
nothing pernicious about this.
No, that's his job.
That's what a father does, right?
His father does, yes.
But what's the problem? What is the
Uh,
problem with this shit? Like I look. And look, I
women.
got keep it 100 here, right? And he
Uh-huh.
says, protect black women, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you protect them? You protect them by giving them game. You protect them by making sure that they have the best lifestyle available to them
Mm-hmm.
as possible.
Mm-hmm.
You try to keep them away from harm. Now, we
Yeah.
already know that there is a higher risk of being assaulted sexually if you work in a business where you sell sex.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it should stand
Yeah.
to reason that that's the case, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what?
For a whole host of reasons. But we'll get into those later. But yeah, I understand what he's saying. He's absolutely right. Especially if coming from somebody in that industry. He knows.
And look, Keep It 100 also says, Chris Rock said it years ago and nobody got mad. But you know, it just seems like to me also though, comedians have a greater
Latitude.
amount of latitude
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to speaking frankly and openly about anything. I mean, because
Mm-hmm.
I think that's part of what a comedian is supposed to do. He's supposed to take things that are ugly and
Yeah.
make you laugh at them.
It was the key meeting is nothing more than the court jester. How to tell the king the truth, the ugly truth, without getting your head cut off. And he had to make it. He had to make it laughable, funny, entertaining.
Okay, so let's go back to this though. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
um, Tip added, "It's vital for fathers to spend as much time with their daughters as possible.
Mm-hmm.
You don't do that, they're going to be somewhere in Magic City trying to figure it out.
Mm.
That is absolutely necessary for any father," he said.
Mm-hmm.
"If you ain't putting in your thought prevention hours and your daughter end up a dancer, don't blame her now. You did not
Mm-hmm.
set an example. You did not show what the fuck it was she should be doing versus
Mm-hmm.
what she's doing."
Mm-hmm.
I still don't see the problem with any of this. I don't get it. I don't see why people are up in arms about this. While people are, pushing back against this. But I think it has to do with what he said earlier. But let's read the article to its conclusion, and then after that, we'll see
Okay.
what else. Oh, and then she says, of course, T.I.'s comments didn't sit well with a lot of women on Twitter. Many felt like the whatever you like rapper was being critical or hypercritical and extremely obsessive with his daughter's sex lives. Now, look, not wanting your daughter to be abused, manipulated, and exploited.
Mm-hmm.
What does that have to do with controlling your daughter's sex life?
It's not controlling. It's molding it to where it's healthy.
And there's something wrong with men doing this.
I thought that's what's required. They said men don't do enough of it. Everyone ever talked to about how to be a father to a daughter, and said the daughter should seek your validation first before she actually seeks validation from another man or a group of men.
You would think,
That's
right?
healthy. Yeah.
Because if
That's
you're
what.
secure with your father, you have a good relationship with your father, you
Mm-hmm.
won't be looking for love from a man that's unhealthy.
Yes.
You'll know that your father loves you, and you won't be seeking approval from any man, any other man.
Mm-hmm.
That's a superficial kind of appreciation. You'll know what real appreciation is.
Mm-hmm.
But that's based upon whether or not your father actually treats you well.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we have no evidence that T.I. mistreats his daughter other than he's concerned about her sexual well-being.
Mm-hmm.
What is wrong with this shit?
There's not, it's only wrong in the gynocracy, which is the black community, right? Any other group of men, any other group of people, societies would agree with this. If she was from Islamic or even Asian, there wouldn't be any conversation about it. Of course, you're supposed to make sure that her sexual purity is available until she's of age to take care of herself. That's what you're supposed to do as a father. You're supposed to teach them to have healthy sex roles, healthy relationships with men. That's your job. Because we have tons of women say, "Why did you get involved? Have babies at 14? Why did you have 6 babies by 6 different guys?" Well, I didn't have a healthy relationship with my father. Can't
So
have it
now
both
you have
ways.
a man. So you're damned if you do, you're damned if
And
you
then if
don't.
you don't, yeah,
Catch 22.
yeah,
If you're involved in the life of your daughter,
mm-hmm,
then she still has to be able to be in control of her body in a
mm-hmm.
way in which I wonder if mothers, like if this was a woman saying this, would this be a big problem?
No, it wouldn't be.
Not at all, huh?
Not at all, because she's a woman.
So then, okay, so somebody tweeted, his obsession with his daughter's sex life is so uncomfortable. Like, why does he keep talking about sex and his daughter? Well, I think part of this has to do also with the fact that increasingly these girls are being raised in single parent homes too.
Mm-hmm,
I think
mm-hmm.
that's part of it because they don't even know what a man is supposed to do in the home. They have no idea what kind of parental guidance a man is supposed to provide for his children. He's more of he's more of an obstacle, like a an irritant, more so than he is something or someone who is supposed to provide moral guidance.
Hmm. And, and
And
I and I,
go
and
ahead.
I think what he's trying to do by making it public is set an example about, I think he's, being in the field that he's in, he's seen how badly this thoughtism could go, because I'm sure he's had his share of women that are that have not been raised properly, and he's taking his advantage of them, because it was there. So, and he doesn't want his daughter to follow in the same footsteps as these. So I don't blame him. But I think he's trying to get across that this is how it's supposed to be done, rather than the way it has been done over the past 30 years.
So let's just be honest, man. Straight no chaser, man.
Hmm.
Both Ti and Lil Duval have had their
Hmm.
fair share of thoughts.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I mean, bottom line, I mean, doing anything.
yes.
And then you got groupies, people
Hmm.
trying to get close to money
Hmm.
who will do anything, in order to have a shot at some fame or something that
Hmm.
they don't even really know anything about other than on the veneer, the
Hmm.
surface. They don't know what's going on behind the scenes and what is really, occurring in these people's lives. All they know is the glitz and the glamour, the cameras, and the magazines and the Instagrams and the Twitters, and what goes on YouTube and all of that kind of stuff, the movie screen. But they don't know about these people's lives really, you know.
No, they don't. They
So,
don't.
but I mean, it all looks good.
It all looks good, but the thing is that Ti is probably the best person to actually talk about it and actually prevent his daughter from doing it, because he's seen the ugly side of what it can cause. The drugs, the alcohol, the thoughtism. I mean, he's probably been in his share of strip clubs and seen what kind of damage it actually does to the women. Because after you get off the pole, if you don't make it or make money, you can't reverse it. You can't unsee what you've seen as far as strip club. But once you've been on that side of the, I call them diesels. Once you've seen the
Hold on, what's the logic behind that, man? I gotta
okay,
get some insight on this.
the octanes are just regular gas, right? It goes in uh, 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 consumer vehicles, right? Diesel or working class, right? Working girls.
Oh, oh, damn. Okay, I
So
catch
so
it though.
yeah, so diesel trucks, tractors, whatever. It's the working class girls, and basically on the other side, you learn about men's sexuality in a different way. Okay, you're learning the ugly side of men's sexuality, because it's not there is no particular mode or performance that you have to do. So if you're dating a woman, and ordinarily, um, then there's certain niceties you have to do to get to that point, right? Whereas if she's a stripper, a thought, or whatever, not a thought, but somebody actually doing it for money, you got to be nice about it. Okay, this
Right,
is what I want. This is what I will pay.
right.
And if you're doing that professionally, that has to take a toll on your psyche.
Because you turn yourself into an object,
You turn yourself into an object.
but not
And
even the kind of object like we all turn ourselves to some degree or another into
hmm
objects. I mean, like
hmm
when we work for one of these brick and mortar companies, we go to work.
hmm
We're a tool in
yeah,
order for the owner of the corporation, the stockholders, or the president of the company,
yeah,
the CEO of the company, rather. I mean, we
hmm
all make ourselves into tools in some way or the other.
yeah,
But one could argue, as it pertains to sex, there's
hmm
an added component of complexity
yeah,
and spirituality
yeah,
that's often explained away.
yeah,
That we would like to, partition off, but really actually can't be partitioned off. And it's especially damning and impactful on the lives of women more so than it is of men.
yeah. But there's a certain amount of respectability that happens normally for regular people. Okay, you're dating, you're getting involved, you're doing it because women are having sex with you, and vice versa, because they like you. They're interested in you. There's some kind of interest in you. Okay, when if you're on the other side of the wall and you try to entertain somebody, you can't stand them. Okay, but it becomes your job. Then you divorce that act from being normal, from being feeling. And how do you get that back? Even if you quit the job, how do you go back? How do you go
Right,
back to the square life?
right. So I just invited another guest. This guy here, man, I've had him on the show on several occasions. His name is Marcus Aurelius. They also call him Keep It 100. What's up, Marcus, man? How you doing, bro?
What's going on, man? You got some moderators with some overzealous fingers, so I had
I
to.
can't I can't hear you, man.
No, it's not that. It basically, it's stream. I don't know why StreamYards is doing it to you, but it's not a moderator.
Oh, okay, yeah.
In StreamYards, I don't know what you're triggering, but that's what's going on. Some of you triggering something in StreamYards because it's not them.
Actually, it's Stream Elements, which is
Stream Element.
so
Yeah.
I got a bot, and that bot is probably preventing some
Some of the
some
comments.
language, some comments, and look, I got to go in and set the parameters and loosen the restrictions on it, and I'll
Mhm.
do that probably tonight. How
ain't
about that? Is it deal?
I got you. I ain't even say nothing crazy. I thought somebody was like, "All right, this dude's saying too much."
But can
No.
you speak up though, man? Because I can barely hear you.
You can't. What about now? Is it better?
Yes. So whatever you just did, just keep doing it.
Okay. Well, hopefully this signal holds up. But yeah, man. I was discussing this on other parts of the internet, man. This is basically more examples of problems with male authority in the black culture, black community, whatever you want to call it.
True.
Yeah, that's all this is. It wouldn't matter what he said. If he is expressing any authority over black women, no matter what the relationship, it's a problem.
Because it's perceived as the patriarchy, it's perceived as male dominance, it's perceived as the policing of a black woman's body.
Well, by a black man, because everybody else can do it.
Right. So we just had that, like, so if a mother said, I don't want you to be out there stripping on that pole, you ain't no damn hoe, I raised you better than that. No problem. But if the daddy says, I'm ashamed to see you out here like this, I want better for you. That's
Mhm.
not, that's not what I actually want to see for you. Then it's a problem. Then everybody
Mm-hmm.
starts. And the funny thing about it is people like to talk about it as if somehow he has a love affair with his daughter, like he's consumed, like kind of like going into vertigo about his daughter's sexuality. Like,
I had to check a few people about that because that's the underlying component. Underneath it all, there's this idea of the black male sexual deviant monster rapist. You know what I mean? And that's crazy. Like, again, this thing with black men in particular. White men do this with their daughters all day and nobody trips about it. Black women, white women, nobody else. White men take their daughters to the gyno. White men take their daughters to the abortion clinic. White men do all these things. White men disown their daughters for this type of behavior.
yeah.
And this is normal over there. It's normal, just like BGS said. This is normal in other cultures. Only in this culture is it abnormal because these women, number one, don't know what a dad looks like. I think there's this concentrated effort for black women to control the trajectory of the children.
Yeah, but the problem I have with this, right, is that why is it problematic for a man? Now, everybody knows that this man has a humongous family and a relatively successful family. So, T.I. is not the perfect guy. I mean, and I think he's willing to also admit that, he's come from a harsh background. But again, as BGS said, this man has actually been through, and all up and down through the trap, man. He knows what lies behind the curtain when all of the smoke and mirrors, when they're all gone, and men know what it is too, and they know, predicated upon they're having experiences on the other side of that veil. And look, I've been to the strip clubs on many occasions, man. Like, I go there to eat chicken wings and to drink beer, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been in Atlanta, and the girls will be so aggressive trying to dance. I'm like, man, In St. Louis, it's not like that, man. Like, no, I'm not. You're not getting a tip just because you dancing. But in the ATL, it's a little bit different. They're a little more aggressive. But still, the very idea that you would expect some sort of modesty and chastity from your own child, like it would just be embarrassing to me to walk into the strip club to get some chicken wings and some beer, which is typically when I would do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like I'm going there by myself. If I'm going with some partners. Like, let's hit the strip. I don't know what it's like in Atlanta, but from what I understand in Atlanta, I mean, that's where they go. Everybody goes to the strip club, and I don't know, man. I just don't want to see my daughter shaking her ass in front of thirsty ass dudes, man.
Hey, whether it's T.I. talking about his daughter, whether it's Ice Cube pushing for initiatives for black people, they don't want to see black male authority. They don't want to see it. If it's a black man that run a restaurant that don't want, you know what I'm saying, these chicks dancing on his tables, they don't want to see black male authority. When you practice black male authority, it's a problem. When you don't do it, it's a problem. They want to dictate what it looks like.
Yeah.
And it only should look like something after the fact. In other words, after whatever incident they get caught up in, then they want dudes to come rescue them. They don't want protection. You know what I'm saying? They want to be rescued. They want to be avenged by black male, you know what I'm saying?
They want to be bodyguarded,
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. My thing is, how come Tiny's not coming in and co-signing with what he's saying?
Because she don't want to get caught into the fray. Because she part of the gynocracy too, man. I mean, let's just be honest, man.
Yeah, but that's her daughter. That's her daughter. She knows the same thing. She's been in the business. She knows the same thing that T.I. knows.
Yeah.
I mean, she sat there and supported Jada in silence on that Red Table Talk. If you watch that show, she sat there through much of that conversation and sat in silence as T.I., said what he said to Jada Pinkett. But you know how they do. If they can't, like, she can't go against him on TV, and she can't support him in opposition to Jada Pinkett Smith, because they have this silent support system that it's like, okay, we can't publicly disagree with you. And this is what I tell girls all the time. Y'all are like the police. Y'all can't come out and publicly disagree with each other. These girls, these girls will jump in my inbox and tell me, yo, you right, and blase, blase, blah. But I'm like, say that on there. Say that in front of the world. So they'll sit in a room with each other and put other chicks down or this, that, and the third. But when it comes to speaking out publicly against other women's behavior and ideas, they won't do it, because it's like the police. It's like the blue wall of silence. They have you know what I'm saying, an omerta. That's how they roll. And it doesn't matter if it's dysfunctional. It doesn't matter. This is what they're on code. This is what they believe in. They're on code. So Tiny will sit on the Red Table Talk on Jada's show and just make faces, while T.I. has to defend his position with his daughter, which makes sense to Jada Pinkett Smith.
And look, so let's read one comment. So another person tweeted, the article says in Double XL, your son can get someone pregnant, so wouldn't you hold him accountable? Or is it that you support him abandoning the child? Acknowledge the way you treat your wife before trying to have thought prevention hours. You're disgustingly obsessed with your daughter's sex life. So again, this idea that this man is obsessed with his daughter's sexual life. But I mean, look, T.I. is just being real, man. Like, first of all, he's talking to men with other men. You know what I'm saying? And he's talking about what he wants to do in terms of protecting his daughter from something that can really have a deep psychological impact on her future, right? And it could change the trajectory of her life. It can be the difference between her living a fulfilling family life, or she can be subjected to a whole bunch of pathology.
And once she brings a baby into the picture that puts If it's unhealthy, it puts a burden on the rest of the family. So
Man.
now the rest of the family has to step up and fill in the blank.
And see, well, and men do worry about their sons getting girls pregnant. Don't get it twisted.
Oh yeah.
And I don't have a son, but I've mentored a lot of young men, and the first thing I tell them is, man, if you're gonna be out here having sex, man, wrap that shit up. I got nephews, and they all think they players, like we all did, and they some young little handsome guys, you know what I'm saying? So they pull a lot of ladies. And I'm saying though, man, if you pulling all these ladies, man, make sure that you're not busting raw in these ladies, man. You're not busting raw in them. Cause trust me, child support ain't no joke, man.
Yeah.
And
it's impossible to abandon your kids in this society. You can't. The law is gonna hold you responsible for it. So.
And look, you want your child, if possible, you want them to have children the right way, and make sure that they're reared in a loving environment, and that, if possible, ideally, you can have both parents present. You want them to have, an ideal situation when it comes to the sexuality, when it comes to the relationships they have, male or female. But you really want to protect your daughter because you know how men can be.
Yeah.
And they say they want protection, but when you provide the protection, like Marcus say, they want it how they want it. They don't want it to come in the form that men, tend to, to perform it. They want it how they want it.
Yeah. And plus, T.I. has been in the business. He knows that every partner that a woman has outside of marriage is going to lower her value.
Exactly. And he wants her value to be high and her integrity to be high.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's something wrong with it, though. I mean, this culture is just, it takes what's up and it turns it down. It takes right and it makes it wrong. It takes common sense and makes it non-common. But that's the culture we live in. So, look, however, there are some people who support T.I.'s parenting skills and being protective over his daughters. So one person says, are people really mad that T.I. said spending times with his daughters are thought prevention hours? How is that him calling his daughters thoughts? He says spending time with them is a way of preventing them from becoming that. Motherfuckers love to be mad about something. So one supporter. And but anyway, so last year T.I. was slammed when he revealed that he goes to his daughter Deja's gynecologist appointments to make sure that she's still a virgin. And he would later apologize for his misogynistic comments and embarrassing his daughter. And then he says, I was wrong. I'm willing to accept full accountability 100% for everything I may have said that shouldn't have been said. But he don't mean that, man. That's just, that Nick Cannon shit where you apologize because you feel like you got to apologize because the culture at large is pressuring you to apologize. All I can say is, man, I don't want my daughter, man, stripping on a damn pole, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to, like, walk anywhere and then see my daughter scantily clothed out here shaking her ass for the public, man.
Women are actually taught that it shouldn't matter. In fact, I think I was reading this book called Black Women and Forbidden Black Love or something like that. And basically at the end of the book, she says what black women really want. They want to be able to sleep with who they want to sleep with, have as many babies by as many different men as they want, and have the community come in and take care of them, and not be judged for it. They want the maximum freedom and the maximum support.
Man, that's crazy. I don't get that. I don't understand it, man. I don't get it. I can't comprehend it, man.
It would, because we're men, and women would love to voice it, but they know that it doesn't make sense and it's not practical. But that's what they want, and a lot of women kind of do it, And I got 6 babies by 4 different guys, but I still want to get married like I'm a worthy wife.
That's why I had a show, and people probably got mad at me about it. Like, how you gonna let ninjas hit it for free for 20 plus years? Then after all of that, then you want to settle down and be an honest woman.
Well, an honest woman, yep.
And have a man completely take care of you. Make sure you straight and abide by all of the norms associated with masculinity and
Mm-hmm.
manhood
Mm-hmm.
while you walk around like a big ass boss because you fucking had a whole bunch of kids out of
Mm-hmm.
wedlock.
Mm-hmm.
You just threw the pussy around everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why a lot of women. I mean, you've heard it on, as you mentioned, Kevin Samuel's show. Okay, you've heard them say it. They don't think because I'm 30 years over 30, have 6 kids, my value should be diminished. I don't think that should be. They don't think it should be in the equation.
I just don't understand where these women are coming from, man. They know that there are consequences associated with having children to begin with. They know that
Mm-hmm.
shit.
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't think they do. I think that this is what. Remember, again, the culture that we're in now
Mm-hmm.
says that we have no authority, we have no preference. We're just here to serve. We're here to
Mm-hmm.
real men pay all the bills. Real men do things for black women. That's what we're here for. I seen a
Mm-hmm.
post online that says that our entire purpose
Mm-hmm.
is to protect and provide for them.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no see what black men have not done is set rules and regulations for black women, and that's
Mm-hmm.
coming if it's not here already. But it's something that they haven't they have no reason to respect. Every other nationality or race of men set rules in their society that women are supposed to follow, or this is what happens to you. There is because the black culture is the gynocracy. They make the rules, so in the space where they make the rules, these things do not diminish their value. They make the rules. You understand? It's not our rules; it's their rules. And then you got
But I
guys.
will say this though,
Yeah,
that wasn't always the case.
of
You know,
course not.
uh, put it this way: before black people moved to the north in the Great Migration,
Mm-hmm.
they had a different ethos. But then they moved to the north, in the Midwest, in the West,
Mm-hmm.
and when they moved away from the old South with these churches and with that kind of sedentary and farm kind of rural lifestyle and
Mm-hmm.
moved to these cities. It's just like like the black girl who been cooped up all her life.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, well, it's time to start fucking now. But
Mm-hmm.
then there's no consequences to it because there's no social sanctions. So ultimately, what this is I'm gonna tell you exactly what this is from a scholastic point of view. All right, and then I'm gonna be over with that. Okay, I'm gonna go back to being a G. Okay, part of how morality gets constructed is through social sanctions and how people from outside of you how they look at you and the kind of sanctions that they impose upon you, right, by means of their approval or disapproval. So you remove the disapproval and you normalize the behavior. What they're doing is they're basically now trying to reinforce their capacity to be able to do this because they're trying to remove the sanctions and
Mm-hmm.
the kind of social what's the best word,
Social restrictions. Yeah.
right. Uh, and all of this comes to the fore right
Uh-huh.
after the 60s, man. So you got
Yeah.
the hippie movement, the free love movement, you got
Uh-huh.
feminism, you got the civil rights movement, and
Mm-hmm.
then it's like, people taking LSD,
Mm-hmm.
they're having sex freely.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but there's consequences, man, to sex, man. People don't seem to understand that, man. Like
Yeah.
like, and women know this shit more than anything else. They understand this because they're more, caught into the chemical effects of sex than men are. Oxytocin,
Mm-hmm.
attachment and shit like
Okay.
that.
Yeah. Yep.
And oxytocin is the very chemical that helps women to form bonds with their
Mm-hmm.
children. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
This is not something that women are endowed with, predicated upon some sort of pixie dust that's been spread on them at birth. It's just that they have a
You,
hormonal structure that
Mm-hmm.
more readily excretes oxytocin. It's,
but
it's,
Mm-hmm.
it's just what it is,
Yeah.
you know
right?
that in this culture, women are opposed to facts, though.
Well, shit, they're gonna have to start getting square up with the facts.
Yeah, but the fact the facts actually have real world consequences. And the thing is that they're not ready for the real world consequences. In fact, they're complaining about it. You know, they you know the thing is that oxytocin, just like any other drug or chemical, right? You can become resistant to it, and if women have a whole bunch of sexual partners, then by the time they get to be 30, they're resistant to it. They have an inability, not inability, but less of an ability to bond, even to their children.
I think that that's true. I do believe that that's true. When you play around, like human beings
Hmm.
are not bonobos.
We're headed that way.
Yeah, well, because there's a certain group of people who want it to be that way, and for the most part, they've actually made it that way.
Hmm.
So what's been done is by and this is structural more than something that's just behavioral. And see, people don't understand how structures lead to the creation of social practices and habits. Right? It's objective conditions which constrain or promote behaviors which lead to the habits. Okay, and people don't understand this. So and the black conservatives have been over this over and over again. People like Walter, what's his name? Not Walter Whitman, I think,
Hmm.
and people like Thomas Sowell. They've gone over this 100 times. Like,
Hmm.
okay, prior to black people's movement into the North,
Hmm.
we had the highest marriage rates, the
Hmm.
highest rates of births within marriage.
Hmm.
Black people move to the North, all of a sudden everything changes. You know, and so
Yeah,
uh,
you don't have the same kin networks to bring social pressure on the women or the men, really, because in the rural South, you have a very close, uh, they're very close, but also a very wide kin network. So
ex-
if you're doing something that's wrong or trying to court with a boy that you're not supposed to be courting with, there's somebody sitting on the porch to tell you not to be doing what you're doing, and your mother's going to hear about it like 10 minutes later. And
exactly,
even as an adult, you know if you're a woman that's dating a whole bunch of guys, some woman or some guy's going to tell you about it
yeah.
because there's a lot
Thank
of
you.
social pressure.
Thank you,
Go ahead.
Dollar Will, for getting me right on that because I'm getting old, man. I'm almost 50 years old, and every now and then I have a brain fart. So thank you for getting me straight with that. But and also, there were men around who would basically say, "Look, you got my daughter pregnant."
Mm-hmm.
Oh, bro, look, because there were no social safety nets, wasn't no welfare checks, no EBT cards, no WIC,
Hmm. Exactly.
none of that.
Mm-hmm.
So you smashing my daughter, boy, you better get your ass. Y'all about to get married, you about
Mm-hmm.
to get a job, and you about to take care of my damn grandchildren.
Remember Oprah's performance on Brewster Place at the very beginning when she got pregnant by a guy and and she wouldn't give up the man's name, and her
Oh,
father was beating her with the broomstick because he needed to go see that man about who's going to help take care of this baby, and she wouldn't
right.
give up the name.
But that, hey, the things have changed, man. So,
Things have
so, so, but see,
changed.
what they've done is they've created a
Uh,
system where they want. So get rid of the man. So anytime you go to government to take
uh,
care of your sustenance issues, it automatically is going to X the man out of the equation. Now,
mm-hmm.
but women are saying that they're thirsting for substantive and meaningful relationships with men. I'm confused about this shit. Like, this society is creating cultural
What,
confusion, man.
what the thing is, your PhD, man. It comes in how do you define the term that they're using. And what they want is a relationship is not the same thing that's number one that's tradition or well what men are thinking. They want something different.
Exact. Thank you.
Mm.
So they just want a utility,
They want a utility.
and they want somebody to be able to provide for their every want and need.
Hmm.
It's the same as when they say real man, a good man. It's never what we define it as. It's what they define it as.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
They,
would like some women, man, to chime in on this. As a woman, would you like to have your daughter? Would you like to walk into the strip club and see your daughter shaking her ass on the pole?
well, the thing is that remember, maybe 40 years ago, if a girl got pregnant out of wedlock, it might even be 50 years ago, got pregnant out of wedlock, she'd have to go move down south with her grandma or to her auntie or something like that because they wouldn't have, they
The
the family didn't
shame,
want
the
to
social
want the shame.
stigmatization.
Yeah. Nowadays, guess what? The woman gets pregnant out of wedlock. Guess what happens to her? She
They
gets a
get, they
baby
get that.
shower.
Yeah, she get. Yeah,
She get a baby shower. They
So,
celebrate it.
so this is what Walter Williams was talking about. I mean, like he
Hmm.
said, look, you remove the sanctions and you reward it with subsidies. You're incentivizing it. And what these women are doing is they're
Hmm.
trying to prevent social sanctions. And white women have created a language which enables them to perceive the sanctions as oppression. This all this
Hmm.
is. This all it is reframing,
Hmm.
redefining behavior and redefining moral norms. That's all this
Hmm.
shit is.
Hmm.
And but the question is, would you want it to happen to your child?
Mm.
Probably they don't want that shit to happen to they. Well, maybe they do. Maybe they don't care anymore.
I don't know, man. I saw a video with they was singing WAP. They were actually showing a video of WAP, and grandma who had to be at least 85 was dancing to it. So I don't know. I don't know.
So now they got 85-year-old grannies talking about they got some wet ass pussy.
Wet ass pussy. So
This can't be love. This can't be life. It's got to be more.
you know what a lot of what Moynihan was saying is that okay, this was always in black women. The thing is, that the social restrictions kept them from doing certain things, right, or kept them from um, uh, acting out because the aggressiveness and the independence was always there. The thing is, it was tamped down. The thing is, what happens when we lift the restrictors off these women? What do you get?
A hot ass mess. Everybody, look. So look, let me just say this, man. So we gonna wrap this up, man. We've been here for
Okay.
damn near an hour, right? And I didn't want to hold you long. I just wanted you to come in because if it was just me, I would just be going off
Hmm. Well, maybe
and
sometimes.
cursing up a storm. You know what I'm saying? That's what I would be doing. Okay. And
don't let, don't let me interfere with your Luther moment, man.
yeah, I'm not gonna do that tonight. I promised that I wasn't gonna do that tonight. But it just seems to me that black men don't have the capacity any longer to impose any social sanctions at all. I think Marcus was talking about this earlier.
Hmm.
Like we don't have any ability to contribute towards the ethos in black culture anymore. By definition, any contribution we make is going to be perceived as an intrusion
Hmm.
on the liberty of black women. But black women can say all they want to say about us because it's framed in such a way that
Hmm.
it's in service of justice.
Yeah.
So it's very important for men to understand that look, use your voice. Don't let people silence you or shame you. All this reaction to Ti is a reaction, the same kind of reaction that men would have given, or that the black community as a whole would have
Hmm.
given to women engaging in this behavior before, has now been inverted, and it's been done primarily by white women. This women's liberation shit, like the my
Hmm.
body, my choice, and all this, that's some white woman shit.
Hmm.
But they don't even abide by those rules because I can guarantee you, a white woman is not going to want to see a daughter stripping on a fucking stripper pole.
No,
I,
not at
I
all.
look at black women as white women's liberation proxies.
Say
Oh
it
yeah,
again.
yeah, I agree with
Say
that.
it again. Say
I
that
agree with
again.
that.
Yeah, they are white women's liberation proxies. To me, what they do is it's like they're running an ant farm in the black community where they basically sick black women on black men in a way that they can't do on their own men, because they can't practice that shit over there.
And I think they vicariously live through black women, and the
Absolutely.
basically that's why I said that part in, I think it was Lovecraft Country, where the white woman and the black one having a conversation, right? And they said we both want what the other has.
Yeah,
And
I think it's I think it's a codependence with black
yeah,
women and white women. It's
it,
they live through each other.
yeah, they do. It always has been, going all the way back to the mid 19th century.
But
That's
but
like
but
repeating it. And our woman, it still lives on.
but peep game. So
Mm,
I will say this. I think though you've always had black women who had more freedom than white women have
mm-hmm,
for a variety of different reasons related to slavery, and we know that.
mm-hmm,
Okay,
mm-hmm,
that's something we all know. Okay, but also black women were in agreement with black men on a whole host of issues
mm-hmm,
up until this so-called women's liberation movement.
mm-hmm,
And look, black women initially resisted against it.
mm-hmm,
I want to read some Betty Friedan for you. She wrote a book called The Feminine Mystique. I don't know if you
mm-hmm,
know about this book,
mm-hmm.
okay?
Yeah, very
But
famous. Yeah.
I'm drawing your attention to it. Betty Friedan was known as like one of the founding mothers of second wave feminism. And this is what she said. The book is not named The Feminine Mystique. It's not from The Feminine Mystique.
Mm-hmm,
It's from another book. I don't know the exact name of it. I'm gonna have to okay, yeah. The name of the book is called Life So Far. Okay? And what she says is, I wanted young black women as well. So this is just an excerpt from the book, Life So Far. I wanted
mm-hmm,
young black women as well. So on that same trip to Atlanta, or maybe another, I met with students with their new afros at the headquarters of SNCC, the Student
mm-hmm,
Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, an
mm-hmm,
organization of black college students formed in 1960 by Stokely Carmichael to end segregation peacefully in the South through voter registration drives and sit-ins. So these women, white women, are already trying to
mm-hmm,
co-opt black people's movements by inserting themselves.
mm-hmm,
They're already there. Okay, so I wanted black women as well. So
mm-hmm,
I went to SNCC. Okay, so
mm-hmm,
they're recruiting. All right, it was hard to convince those young black women to join the National Organization of Women.
mm-hmm,
Then she goes on to say, I remember sitting on the floor and talking with all these young women and some men, and the women saying to me, we don't want anything to do with that feminist bag. Black women have been strong. It's the black man who should get his power now. Then
mm-hmm,
they'll take care of us. Well, I wanted to spank them. This is white woman now.
mm-hmm,
But they learned soon enough. They eventually came in.
mm-hmm,
Now, ultimately, man, like, so they were already there. Now, peep game now. This Betty Friedan woman, man, called living life as a housewife, being a prisoner in a comfortable concentration camp.
mm-hmm,
Okay? Now, this is a white Jewish woman. I'm pretty sure she had all of the materialistic things that she could imagine. Okay?
mm-hmm,
All at her fingertips. She was educated. She was educated at one of the best schools
mm-hmm.
in the country. I think she went to what school did she go to? She went to, I think, the All
Uh,
Women's College, or either that, or
Brandeis.
she went to an Ivy League institution,
Yeah,
or,
okay.
an institution. I forget it. White women go to this school. I can't remember.
I think it's Brandeis, which is the adjunct to Harvard.
Okay,
Mm,
so, but then she goes on to say it was true, of course, that black women were already strong. They were
mm-hmm,
forced to be because they could get jobs cleaning houses and taking care of white women when
mm-hmm,
black men couldn't get any jobs at all. So these
mm-hmm.
white women already know what the fuck was going on.
Yeah.
Okay, so why would you already know that they're strong. You already know that they're able to get more work than
Mm-hmm,
women. You already know that black women at this point in time were in agreement that black men should take the lead. And this just goes back to what Brenda Verner, I showed you a whole host of videos from Brenda Verner. Okay?
mm-hmm,
And they were important insofar as it just shows you what different mindset women had. And one of the things that Brenda Verner alluded to was black women were in agreement that black men should be running the civil rights movement.
mm-hmm,
It wasn't that men were using patriarchy to impose their will and to ostracize black women from being able to participate in that liberatory movement. which is what black women are doing now, especially with, you know, the whole vibe they got now is exclusionary. Okay? But anyway, when black men couldn't get any jobs at all except for shining shoes, because black women were essential to their family survival, they never had the luxury of the feminine mystique that belonged to the white middle and upper class. Even daughters of the black upper middle class, like my brilliant psychotherapist friend Margaret Lawrence, who started a mental clinic in Rockland County, Jane, dean of a medical school, Eleanor Holmes, blah blah blah. She just goes on and on. But I think the idea she's trying to evoke there, that black women were never really actually part of that movement. Like what they're struggling for, what they're asking for to get out of this movement, it has no application to us. And this white woman is acknowledging this shit. But it's funny though that black women now have taken up the exact same thinking. I mean, like, if you go back and look at this, man, just look at it, you'll see that all of the excessive, I'm talking about the most radical claims made by white women doing second wave feminism. You got black women saying that shit now because they're reading it. They're reading it in college.
You've been taught it, yeah.
This is why I'm in this space, man, to let you know where this shit originates from. That's what I'm here to talk to you about. Do you feel what I'm saying? I'm trying to give you knowledge on the seeds. You see the flower, you see the trees. I know the acorns. I'm trying to drop these gems on you so you can make sense of it and understand the roots of it. Now I can hold your hand a little bit. You know, but you gotta stand up and walk your way through this. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
AG.
And this brother Abu Kabal, the name of the book is called Life So Far. Betty Friedan. She wrote several books, but the most famous book she wrote was called The Feminine Mystique, and this book is called Life So Far. Okay. Now look, I think Marcus is right on this. What white women have done is they have a proxy war going on between black men and black women in order to try to knock down white men. This is what this shit is all about. They are having a war through proxy. But here's the deal. Have white men been dropped down a notch?
No, they have not.
At all. See, now I'm about to drop a motherfucking bomb. This the shit that gets my goat, man. I don't make me turn into Luther tonight. Oh, I'll put the wrong beat on, man. You see, I'm just saying. It's a proxy war. Black women are the pawns of white women's machinations, man. That's it. Like, I mean, if you want to know it, that's what you need to know. That's what it is.
They are, and willingly sometimes.
And what they did, like white feminism, man, second wave feminism, white women second wave feminism, and all their recruiting, and all their proselytizing, and all of their, their remaking of brains. Ultimately, man, this is the perfection of white supremacy, man. This is the ultimate supreme form of it. Because white men aren't impacted or affected by it. Go look at the numbers, man, of who voted for Trump and who voted for Biden when it came to white women and white men.
Yeah.
Then go look at black people and who they voted for and what numbers. And you have a very small statistical difference between black men and black women. Both black men and black women overwhelmingly voted for the Democratic candidates all across the board. And we've been doing that shit since the Voting Rights Act, Fair Housing Act, and Civil Rights Act. We've been doing that.
Yeah.
Okay? And still, all of the animus of what black men want to be like and how negligent and how pathological and how chauvinistic and how patriarchal they are, is still coming our way.
Yeah.
When you have a statistical difference of what? What, 8%? In relation to black men who actually went out and voted for the Democratic Party, but still we get typecast as wanting to be like white men. Somebody, Lucy got some explaining to do. Bottom line, Lucy got some explaining to do.
Hey, check this out, G. I want to bring your attention to something.
Go ahead, bro. And then after this, I'm gonna keep it. We gotta start cutting it short. But yeah,
And
go ahead.
we also got a super chat too. So
Cause it's funny that you mentioned, you know, the whole trying to be like white men thing. So you got somebody in the comments named January 9. I don't know if that's a woman or a guy, and they you know they put up the comment: black men are not productive enough to be giving orders to grown women who are carrying them. Then that same person goes on to say there was sexism in the civil rights movement as well as with the Panthers. See, the problem that I have with these statements is that they express that black men need to be doing more, black men need to lead, but the very heart of this conversation is when we do, you have a fucking problem with it.
yeah.
So when you have black men leading a group like the Panthers, there's a problem. But when we put women up front, you want to say we're weak, and why are we putting women on the front lines? You got to make up your mind.
You know what I was just listening. I probably have to find that sound again about the Panthers, right? You know what the Panthers' main activities was besides self-defense for black people? School breakfast programs for these women's children, right?
Yeah.
After school care, you know, when we're for working women, right? Tutoring, all that kind of like most of like 90% of what the Black Panthers did was for black females. Okay,
And look,
including protecting the neighborhood.
Yeah.
and keeping them safe from
Keeping them
so-called
safe.
rape. But then, you know, look, I can't speak. You know, look, here's the thing. And this charge is always made against black men. And look, I'm not going to deny that black men can be sexist. They can be. This is like this. No doubt, black men can be sexist. Okay.
All men can be sexist.
But look, put it this way though. Black women don't have any sexism. They don't exhibit misandry. See, this is a problem. See, the one thing I don't like, this is what the devil does. And I'm not calling this woman a devil. All I'm saying, though, is a tactic of insincerity and a tactic of, inconsiderateness to only mention the flaws of one group of people without pointing the finger back at yourself with a 3 that's pointed back at you when you're pointing the finger at somebody else. See, what black women have become accustomed to is hearing the narrative that white women have written and enshrouded in the history without looking what black women at the time had to say. Then you get these newfangled black women, Bell Hooks, Alice Walker, all these, the Columbia River Collective. Then they come in aping, Xeroxing, mimicking the same language, the same discourse, the same narratives as white women. And I mean, this has been a protracted lesson in how to divide and conquer. Men and women are always going to be stereotyping to one another based upon our phenotypic difference. But we have basic biological differences. So you're always going to get that. There's no way to eliminate that. However, to argue that black men somehow had black women in a patriarchal chokehold of the magnitude that white men have had. And then also, this is what a lot of black women don't understand. And they need to learn it. And this is what Dr. Curry points out. Patriarchy is not something that's practiced by men alone.
No.
It takes entire families to practice patriarchy.
The whole society.
Patriarchy is something that women carry out, and it works to their benefit and their advantage, and they know their place within it and love their place within it. And then what you hear from black women is so many black women arguing about why they don't have the patriarchy. It seems more than anything else, it seems like they're in demand. They're demanding the patriarchy from men who can't supply it.
Yeah.
That's the argument, right? And it's like, you damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. And, the grown man business, I just want to give him a shout out. Thank you so much for your donation, sir. And also, he says, the liberal feminist-minded black female is the true enemy of black masculinity. Their voting standards speak to a microcosm of a much deeper issue. Salute, brothers, men first. And look, Women have been saying women first for the longest. And it's in the natural instinct of men to be protective of their daughters, their wives, their sisters, their mothers. That's what we do. Okay? But at the same time, this can't continue forever. Like this narrative about us, it won't persist for long. Black men have grown tired of the narrative of white women seeping in and black women aping it. And then trying to apply the same kind of language to us, knowing that there's a different set of historical circumstances for us than for white men. White men have done all kind of crazy shit. They transported millions of people over the transatlantic or across the Atlantic. Black men didn't do that. You know, white men basically colonized and committed acts of genocide to the tune of millions to a native population. And white women were in agreement with that.
In agreement with it. Yes, they were.
They participated in that.
Participated in it. Yep.
They didn't walk away from this. Just like that. That's why the Bill Burr, when he came and said, you took the blood money. Guess what you did?
Yeah. And rolled around in it.
And rolled around in it. But the funny thing is, now you got black women using the language of our colonizers and our enslavers against black men. And at some point, man, it's starting to stink like shit. Is what it's starting to do in my nostrils. And it's like you could call me whatever you want to call me. You can say whatever you want to say, but this is offensive. And the reason you hear me become as adamant against this as I am is because this kind of discourse has a triple, quadruple effect on black men. It doesn't affect white men, because you can have Biden grab him by the pussy, Trump grab him by the pussy. They still get picked by women, white and black women. Okay? Don't forget that Biden was accused of sexual assault just like Trump was. Okay? Don't forget that. But everybody's willing to overlook it because they perceive him as being a Democrat, and they perceive it as, okay, this is a continuation of my EBT, my WIC, you know, my goodies.
Yeah.
This is my benefits package right here. I can't vote against my benefits package. But then you got to ask the question, what do black men gain from this shit? This is what we're having a problem with. And nobody wants to discuss it. Thank you, Abo, for your donation. And he's saying Africa is going through similar issues at the current moment as well.
Yeah.
And that's because, see, these people, man, they take ideology and they proliferate it through the academy and through the media. This is what they do. This is a public's. This is why Bill Burr said generals should be studying this shit. They should be studying it. But see, here's the real deal. Ordinary white men are impacted by this shit as well. You understand what I'm saying? Like the blue collar white men and white guys who, you know, really are not wealthy and are struggling, like middle class black men. They're going through the same shit and they're trying to figure it out. You know, but they're kind of protected and shielded by their whiteness. But at the same time, they feeling the squeeze of this shit too.
It's only so long you can hide behind that mask. It's only so long.
We got a viewpoint too. Now, if you feel like you got the gumption, the gall, if you want to sit here and argue, we can argue all day. But if I get into a righteous indignation or if I go Luther on this, it's not an expression of some sort of pathology within me. It's because I'm pissed off for real. And if nobody's willing to be indignant about this, I'm trying to give men, look, I know rhetoric. I've studied it. I studied it from Aristotle on up to modern day deliberative democratic theorists. I know what the fuck I'm doing. You catch my drift? I know what kind of work I'm performing. Now, my goal is for black men to make our viewpoints and our feelings expressed in the mass public. At some point, this shit has to reach critical mass. If y'all want to do this, let's do this. If y'all ready to get down and expose the world to what we think and what we feel and our indignation, because see, it seems like everybody else can have indignation but us.
Yeah.
That's over with, man. And I'm trying to give license for men to have this. And look, man, January 9, get the fuck out of here. You blocked. Get your ass out of here. Fuck you. Don't bring your ass in here no more. Get your bitch ass on.
I was
Now take that somewhere. Take your whack ass on. Get your bitch ass out of here. Fuck you.
I was gonna bring your attention to that.
Luther done came out. Don't come in my spot with that fuck girl bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And bring your cronies with you next time. You bring one with you, I don't have no problem going off on a woman on some bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Get your bitch ass out of here. Fuck you.
They put practice and sign or saying shame, insult, guilt, and need to be right, huh?
Don't come in my spot. I'll talk to somebody who's willing to have a rational conversation. But if you come to me with some bullshit. See, I'm from the hood, man. I'm not one of these coon ass middle class niggas who think that they're better than everybody else and won't get down to the brass tacks. I get to the brass tacks, and I don't have a problem. Combahee River Collective, what we believe, Section 2. They don't want to be treated like queens and put on pedestals. They don't want to walk 10 spaces behind. Being treated equal is enough. Well, if you come to a man with some bullshit, I'm going to treat you just like a motherfucking man, like I would any other man. If you don't like that, get the fuck out of here. I mean that shit. I straight up mean that.
So she says that we don't offer patriarchy. All we offer is bullying, crime, and terrorism.
Man, she full of shit. Whoever she is, she can get the fuck on. Don't come to my shit no more. You're blocked. You're out of here. Holla at you. If any moderators, put that motherfucker out. Kick her ass out the salon. What's the name of what they say? Do something make me feel good on Players Club. You'd have been out I'll put your ass on the street. No, I don't play them games, man. I don't give a fuck if you a man, woman, or child. Don't come in this spot bullshitting.
See, that's the shit right there. See,
and if you got something to say, come respectfully. If you got something to say, you come respectfully. You show disrespect, I'm going to kick your ass out. I'll bully your ass if you allow yourself to be bullied. Don't come in here trying to bully motherfuckers with that fuck girl language. Because I never said, I tried to keep it disrespectful. I mean, respectful. I tried to keep it respectful. Did I not?
Yeah.
I tried to keep it 100% respectful. But you got some motherfucker ragtag asshole coming in here with that bullshit. Go fuck with a white man. What the fuck you centered around this conversation for? If that's what you want, get your ass out of here. And that's my righteous indignation. I'm not taking this shit laying down. Fuck that, man. I'm not doing that no more. I don't care about your sensitivities. I don't care about your tears. I don't care about none of that bullshit that you've been taught by all these white people. Fuck that bullshit. I'm not into that, man.
I'm just wondering how long black women are going to allow white women to pull one over on them, and before they learn. Yeah.
Man, look, these women think that they're the brightest and the best amongst us, and some of them are. Some of them know what the hell is going on. Okay, some of them do. But a lot of these motherfuckers, man, they only care about themselves, man. They've been taught to be narcissists by this culture. And this is some newfangled shit, though. I'm telling you, this comes out of a specific point in Western history. Because white women didn't used to act like this to their men. And still, for the most part, they don't. Most women are not feminist, okay? But they got a whole host of black women on this bullshit. And it's the social conditions which lead to the way of thinking. It's the social conditions and the structures that lead to this way of thinking. But don't come in here talking about black men weak all over the world. Man, you ain't even been nowhere in the world. Your ass ain't even been out your fucking backyard. This is the shit that trips me out. These women ain't even left they fucking goddamn area code. But they know what the whole world is like. This shit just gets my goat, man. Yeah, and I respect anybody. But this is a new world. You say you want to act like men, you want to be in the same space as men, you got social equality, you can come with the input and output of men, you're going to get this men work then. You're going to get it. And I'm gonna give it to you just like I give it to any motherfucker with a dangling ass dick. Bottom line.
Now she said we need patriarchy. The trouble that I found with these women is they say that patriarchy is some, you know, some white man's invention. And any black man that practices patriarchy is trying to be a white man until they want to tell us that we need patriarchy. Again, it's a dog chasing his tail. It's like, okay, you want us to do something, and then when we do that thing, you don't like your role in it. You don't like what comes with it. So then you say, okay, well, this is oppressive, but this is what you wanted. So she's saying we need patriarchy, but at the same time, she thinks patriarchy is oppressive and is bullying and is terrorism.
This is a motherfucker oscillating like a goddamn a fan. The kind you push the button up and down on, and your mama say, sit the fan in front of me, boy. That shit. You don't know which way to be. You ain't standing still. You have no resolve or no focus. This shit is all over the place. And see, they don't study this like I've studied it. They don't know the origins of this shit. They can't look back, but for 1, 2, 3 generations, they don't know nothing, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you can go to college and read all this shit. Okay, cool. I understand. You can do that. You can take a couple of feminist courses. I took feminist epistemology, feminist theory, and feminist politics on a graduate level. And I did it as an elective. I already had finished the coursework. I didn't have to do that. I did it because I wanted to learn it. And at the time, I actually was starting to believe it until some of the shit that occurred in my life. I'm like, wait a minute. Hold on, man. You mean patriarchy? You mean matria potestas, the kind of shit that the women can do with you and your children? Like prevent you from seeing your kid and try to extort you? Or go into an emotional explosion and then you can't see the kid? Do you mean that kind of shit?
Yeah.
Because that's matria potestas. That's matriarchy.
That's matriarchy, yeah.
And then you use white patriarchy to enforce the shit. And they're so happy to do it because they're so happy to keep us fractured and divided.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that it's really it's not really even a patriarchy anymore. Basically, it ended with the Tender Years doctrine, when basically the children belong to the woman.
But prior to that, we already been over this historical exercise. Prior to that Tender Years doctrine, men had absolute control over children.
Yes.
Absolute.
Yeah.
And this is common law, British common law. You know, and just to let y'all fellas know, it was something before the Tender Years doctrine called the Custody of Infants Act, 1839. This is the early part of the 19th century. Before that, men received full custody of children in divorce cases because men were the primary caretakers of children, not women. This is a British common law. Now, what this act did, it enabled women to petition the court like men do now to maintain or to get custody of the children. Then in 1873, you had Parliament, and they extended the age from 7 years old, which is what this so-called Custody of Infants Act actually put out there. They come along in 1873, and they say, okay, let's extend the age to 16. That's where you get the Tender Years doctrine. So prior to the Tender Years, you got the Custody of Infants Act. I gotta get the facts, you know what I'm saying? But you're right.
The slow erosion of a patriarchy, and then with second wave feminism, they basically brought women up to equity, which is financial equity. Because I was looking at because actually saw something in Bill Hooks' books talking about the marriage contract in Egypt, and when I looked it up, basically Egypt was a matriarchy where women could had custody of their children. They could enter into contracts. They could work. They could do a lot of things that men actually do. During the divorce, they would get a third of the man's earnings during the marriage. So basically, that's what you have. You really have a de facto matriarchy in the United States. But feminists keep talking about a patriarchy. It doesn't exist anymore.
But here's the deal: it never existed in the black community.
It never existed in the black community.
Not in America. Now we can talk about Africa. We can talk about whatever you want to talk about, but you can't talk about patriarchy in black America. And then also all this shit about abuse, The only other thing that these women have, man, is abuse, bullying and abuse, and men not actually being able to be patriarchal. Okay, so the abuse component, we've already covered this. I've covered this on this show, on this channel, I don't know how many times. Women are just as likely, if not more likely, to engage in intimate partner violence than are men. We've gone over this, I don't know how many times. I'm not talking about from advocacy pages and blog posts. I'm talking about internal review board, peer-reviewed scholastic studies in which people have dedicated their lives to studying the subject. And all we hear is what happens to women, but we never hear what happens to men. And yeah, it is true, men are stronger than women on average. But women get hurt in intimate partner violence more when the violence is reciprocal. This is 40 years of this shit is decades old, man. It's old, it's damn near old as me. But you never hear it proliferated out there. We never hear it. All we hear is the same old tired tropes and narratives about how black men are fucking killers. Black women, black gay, black trans killers. That's all we hear.
Yeah. Which is funny. We kill everybody.
We kill everybody, but damn, we ain't kill. If we that goddamn some good at killing machines, then why the fuck? See, one of the things people don't understand is, and black men in this place, man, they've said it again and again. You're rearing the kind of men that you're getting. You're training, you're socially conditioning the kind of men that you have. That's what you're doing. White women are raising their sons to be killers and to be leaders. Black women raising their men to do what?
Follow. Yeah.
To do what? I'm asking y'all, what are you training black men to do other than to be failures and supplicants and knee benders and genuflectors? What are you teaching them?
To be what, servants, pretty much.
Concuserves.
Concuserves, yeah.
Yeah.
Concubine serfs.
Yeah.
So, you know, look, I done got into Luther mode. I ain't mean to do that. But I'm done being nice. I'm through with that shit. Fuck all that female tear shit. Fuck all that fake ass Victorian fainting couch white woman bullshit.
Yeah.
And if one of them came on here, I'd curse their ass out too.
Isn't it interesting that the only black Americans women treat their men as concubines, sexual objects?
Hey man,
but they learned that from the dominant society. The dominant society fetishizes black men. So they learned. I mean, you know, they learned it from them. They also fetishize them. But
I don't have a problem respecting women who respect me. I have no problem with that. But you can't argue on the one hand that you want to be respected, and then we're having a rational discourse about what we think about an issue, and then you come here with that black men is weak bullshit. The fuck out of here with that bullshit, man. We are not. I don't know what other men are willing to do, but I'll go off on one of you motherfuckers in public. I don't give a fuck if I'm on the TV screen or not. I wouldn't give a fuck. I'm serious about this too. I put that on my dead mother's grave, who I cared for and took care and saw her take her last breath.
Hey G, you already know how I do over there.
Man, come on, man. We got to keep it real with each other. And all I hear is a bunch of Negroes kowtowing, trying to make women comfortable and kind of trying to clean the shit up.
Yeah. That's what they're.
You know, let me clean that up. I was so wrong. I'm so sorry. Because the social sanctions of white feminists. Because all this stuff is the same language of white feminism, man. That's all it is. Second wave feminism, radical feminism, repackaged, rebranded, and sold like the bad dope that Frank Lucas had, or whatever dope. You know what I'm saying? It's the same shit. It is, man. They just repackaged the dope, put a different tag on it or something, like it's different.
It's red magic.
Man, come on, man.
That's that.
And this is the one thing I know. Even Betty Friedan, who wrote The Feminine Mystique and who wrote the Life So Far Passes that I just read to you, even she was like taken aback by some of the claims made by Gloria Steinem and others in the radical, wing of feminism from the second
Mm-hmm.
wave. They were taken aback by some of that shit, and I can show you. I got the video to prove it. If you'll take the time to actually look at it and watch it. I'm trying to provide you with information, man. Either you want this information or you don't. Either you want to move on it or you don't. So, look, man, we done been here longer than I expected. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm glad that you guys can come in. I'm sorry that Luther had to raise his head
We
and to
like Luther.
appear in mortal form.
Luther don't have to apologize. Not to
I
us.
apologize to you guys. I don't apologize to whoever that was. To February or whatever the case may be, you insult my daughter's birth month.
Yeah, that's January 9.
My daughter was born on January the 2nd. And we got a damn good relationship. We good. We like cool in the game. And I talk to her, I keep it real with her, man. I don't bite tongues and play games with her. You know what I'm saying? I've been riding with my daughter, man, from very young age. She got her own mind, very smart and intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
But I want her to know the truth about what's going on out here in this world. And she can make her own decisions and choices. I can't force, a child to do anything. Just like T.I. can't force his child to do anything. All I want is what's best for her. And I know what's best for her is not shaking her ass in Magic City. Bottom line. And if you don't get that, if there's a problem with that, well, then you're just going to have a problem with me. I'm toxic then.
I wonder when did women, because women in my family, women would automatically enforce that. Now, if they couldn't get it done, then they would come see me, but they'd be the first line. How have women, especially black women, fallen so far that they actually disagree with something like this?
Mm-hmm.
How far are they going to fall?
Hey, man, all I can say is, that poll, the money from that poll got to be damn good. It got to be. For you, for women to be, moving through it like that, like to get mad at a motherfucker for wanting to protect his daughter. Now Hyman shit could be a little extreme. Like he probably just trying to figure out if she's screwing yet.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
He's
just trying to find out if she's fucking yet. But
yeah,
he's trying to push her in a different direction because she doesn't have to do the stuff that maybe him and Tiny did. You don't have to live that life. There's no reason for you to live like you can live a different life without all the downside of what he's saying. Because everybody's not going to make it in that business.
No.
Most people are not going to make it in that business.
Most strippers burn out. Strippers on the pole burn out, or they actually go out on the street and start selling. So the thing is, not a lifestyle that you want. It's not a path you actually want to go down. And what he's saying is right. Being a thought has a very, very limited shelf life.
Mm-hmm.
And look, Marcus know he in that business.
Wait, hold on now.
Well, I mean, you ain't thoughting, but
what is saying?
I'm a respectable man.
Well, yes,
I'm not saying you're not respectable.
But you've seen the downside of that lifestyle.
Man, I've seen I've seen people win and I've seen people lose. I've had girls come to me and ask me questions about should I do this or that, in relation to having sex with dudes for a come up. You know what I mean? I said, listen, I'm not going to tell you what to or what not to do. I'm not going to sit here and say that there's no women that really come up off of that. But what I will tell you is, if not done correctly, if you don't have any finesse about it, you gonna be spit out of that. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I don't preach to these chicks. I don't teach them any morality or false morality, anything like that. Look, if you want to play that game, play it well.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? But if you go over there and it don't go the way you wanted it to, you're not a victim. You played that. You played it with all eyes open. You played that game. You tried to get what you wanted out of it, and it didn't work for you. And here you are, and you're not a victim.
So look, I want to close with this, man. So let me just say this. This encapsulates to me why I think it's not a good idea to be on the pole, getting your booty on the pole. Okay. So I'm gonna share with you a philosopher by the name of Immanuel Kant. He came up with a concept called the categorical imperative. And basically, what Kant says is that human beings, when they act on rational principles of moral action that they make up for themselves. Okay, so if you do something, you're doing it because you have a reason to do it, and you've made a principle that guides your actions. Okay? And he says that there's 3 questions you could ask about maxims. You can ask a prudential question: is it in my interest to abide by the principle or this maxim? You could ask a technical question about it: can I actually operate by this maxim and get what it is that I want as a result of it? And moral questions. Anyway, it comes to a formulation. Like if you want to test whether your maxim actually meets the moral question, or you can answer the moral question in an affirmative, then you've met the demands of the categorical imperative. Second formulation of the categorical imperative. This is one of the most famous fucking ethicists in the history of Western culture and society. You might not agree with it, but here's the second formulation of the categorical imperative. Act in such a way that you treat humanity, whether in your own person or in that of another, always as an end and never as a means only. So in essence, every person has intrinsic value, and that humanity is a limit or a constraint on our action. But it's not just from person to person. You're also not supposed to treat yourself like an object, as a means to an end. One can argue you engage in the sex work, you're treating yourself as an object. There's no value in that shit other than a money exchange. But there's so much more to a person than sexual objectification. That's all I got to say about it. So having said that, that's my little philosophical lesson for the evening. So I'm done with it, man. I'm not going to I don't want to see my daughter treat herself like an object, and I don't want other men to treat her like an object. Period. So I'm done with it, man. I'm off. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me.
All right.
You've been tuned into the Green Gorilla channel, and I need to have some leave off this motherfucker music. I'll holler at y'all later, man.
All right.
Phenomenon, I shine like Orion. I came in a rap gang to smack it up like Heron, transform it like Megatron. Wait, like Yamatron. Most rappers are some peons. I'ma starve them like Ramadan. I'm troublesome. You don't really want no troublesome, cause I pop guns like hood chicks do bubble gum. I been dumb, gon' stay that way till kingdom come. When the sun I'm at, unleash a demon, a polygon. I'm heavy, son. Got more knowledge than Farrakhan, more gang than Cap. Karma that bishop named Don Juan. Stay lit off some Shandan. Maybe about they ram, stay drink with some Nordstrom. Call me that Dapper Don, more violent than Genghis Khan. The members of Taliban, niggas faker than silicon. Get hit like a .com, like soldiers in Lebanon. I'm bringing that red rum. When I get through with you, son, you gon' think I'll see rap. I carry weight like a heavyweight. Bake more cakes than patty cake. Watch the fiend salivate. You a lightweight, bantam weight. Better contemplate. If you violate, make you levitate to the pearly gates. I fascinate when I conversate from the show me state where these niggas left the hate and hot murder rate. What a waste. But this flow is just a taste of God's grace. Shining this light in the ugly place. In the prophecy, got more wisdom than Socrates' philosophies. You don't really want no parts of me. Can't you see? I'm slicker than Mephistopheles, stronger than Hercules. More dangerous than the Damocles. The MCs trying me pretty please. I wet up they white tees, knock them out they wallabies. Now they touch my deliveries. But coming up short of the little C's when I break out the killer bees. I study music by Kokasi, hit chicks look like Ashanti. When I'm breaking them off, they yell at odd poppy. You rack rappers is sloppy, you can't stop me with that. We can sorry, copy, Maloney. I'm a monster like Frankenstein. Rock harder than Palestine, you slams. Dropping dimes, a snake and serpentine. Can't stand to see me glow like Nas with with a big shine. All you haters cold in it, cold sores, need calamine. But my hot shit like red bricks hitting your head. Leave the sour taste up in your mouth like lemon heads, like Simply Red. Wasted some years up in the feds when I touched down. Already red, that gave me head. I got higher vision for higher living. I'm highly driven. I'm acting women like it's some sort of sick religion. Driving an Impala, sitting on it, these 20 inches, and they spinning just like the planets in the solar system.
Black country people, over in Africa, down to America. Black country people, we make all the world go round and around, yes. Black country people, up in Canada, down to Jamaica. Black country people, we make all the world go round and around.